you're doing the right things. So I'm curious what your background is and your thoughts about marketing. Yes, exactly. The thing that I found is in anything, whether it's marketing or strategies or any business, is really getting a clear handle of where the company or the organization is going. And so in marketing as well, it's important to set a vision or a goal or a direction, so that way everybody knows is on board, and all the marketing campaigns gets focused on the mission and the vision of the business itself. So let me go through the initial stage of what I like to say is profit visions, and it's really how to create a vision for the business. So let me go through 6 steps to doing that, and hopefully by the end of that it brings a lot more clarity about how to put it together, how to make it easier, and how to get the team involved so that everybody's focused in the right direction with that. So key with creating a vision for the business is getting a lot of clarity. And in many cases, businesses go off and take a lot of time to put this together. So it's not an easy task for anybody. Now, some people feel that perhaps they can come up with a mission statement or a vision statement in a very short amount of time. And in actuality, it takes longer because we're looking at the heart of the business. We're looking at really what the business, the entity stands for, and how do they want to project themselves to their clients or their customers. So let's look at this in a little more detail in creating the vision itself. In this, we put together the first of 52 series. And in this series is asking questions of what exactly is a vision, why is it important? And what's interesting is that when business put together a mission statement, which is the what, and the vision is the why you want to do that, and the how. When putting together a mission statement, they'll put it somewhere and adhere to it, but they forget about it. And it's important to really have it resonate so that it's clear. And what follows is, of course, the mission and the vision statement. That's the reason why employees need a vision to follow it. They need examples, and we'll have some of those here. And we'll cover some of how to write the vision statement and also what you need to achieve your vision itself. So let's go dive into this. A vision statement, let's look at this. This describes aspirations and the intention of the organization to go forward. And it has to inspire. It has to really make it so that people really want to fall into this and come to it, and can be communicated to the clients and the customers itself. It has to have a compelling story, paint a clear picture, and be engaging. And we'll see some samples of this in major corporations like Dell and Apple and shortly in a moment. But certainly align with the company's values. And the values for each company may differ, but it's important to be clear about the values so that that's also incorporated in the vision statement as well. Let's look at this a little bit further. When you look at this, incorporating the vision, you want to make sure that you involve all the employees and involve the key stakeholders of the business so that they're able to articulate that. And keeping in mind what the customers would believe that your vision is. So let's look at some examples of some of these. For instance, Amazon.com, and I'll read it. Our vision is to be Earth's most customer-centric company, to build a place where people can come to find and discover anything that they might want to buy online. That's a really tremendous statement that Jeff Bezos, who's the president and CEO of Amazon, put together. And we can see that it's playing out now, that they are really having a place where anything that anybody would want to buy, they can come there online and buy. And he started with books and started with different technology components. He's now stepping into the food business, certainly stepping into the video business with a digital media, which is competing with Netflix in some cases. So we can see that that vision is resonating at this point from whenever he put it together. And I'm not clear when he did, whether it was the inception of the business or later on after that. Let's look at another one that's a favorite of mine, is eBay. And I've been working, or at least working on eBay and certainly buying and selling on eBay. So that resonates for me as well too. Let's listen to what their vision is. eBay pioneers communities built on commerce. They certainly do that. Sustained by trust. They really work with that. And inspired by opportunity. eBay brings together millions of people every day on a local, national, and international basis. And certainly they've done that. Through an array of websites that focus on commerce, payments, and communications. So in my mind, eBay really has addressed all those components and really executes very well on that. Let's take another one, which obviously Google is a favorite of mine as well. All of these are favorites. We've got Amazon, Dell, eBay, Facebook, Google. And maybe Dell not so much, because they've had some challenges because the industry has changed, and I don't know how much this vision has adapted to the new challenges that they're going through. But Google's mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. A one-line sentence that really encompasses all of that. And if I knew the vision or the mission itself, it would resonate. It would inspire me to continue. It would allow me to think of them as a company that's not just here to stay to satisfy the short-term needs, but also for the long-term needs. So when Google says our mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful, and yes, they certainly stepped into the various components, software, as well as cars and transportation. They're making some inroads in there. They're putting satellites in space so that everybody could have Wi-Fi access, or at least be more accessible. They really have expanded internationally, and Google certainly is a leader in the technology industry, but also I think in the lifestyle industry. So let's go on with that. Other vision statement examples that could fit, for instance, to develop a reliable wireless network that communicates effortlessly, or to be a profitable provider of high-quality software solutions that can attract, retain, recruit, and smart and talented employees. So those are vision statements that resonates with the company's values and eventually with the client and the customer. So here's the 6 steps of how to put that together. Let's look at that. First is we want to start looking at the strengths and the weaknesses from the perspective of everyone that is doing business with the company, the providers, or the vendors, or certainly the customers and the clients that come, or certainly internally, because the team and the organization itself is also a client and customer of the business. So it needs to resonate with that, looking at strengths and weaknesses. So we'll start with outlining those different stakeholders, if you will, that are participating in the company. First of all, we look at customers and getting a very good profile of who the ideal customers are, or clients, I like to say, is looking at their strengths and their weaknesses. And the strengths may be the things that they feel satisfied, that they stand to gain from doing business with. And looking at the weaknesses is perhaps another way of looking at that is the pains that they have. So you have the gains and the pains. What they get being stronger from dealing with the business, and maybe they come from a position of strength. And one would be that they have finances and money to purchase. And the weakness would be a challenge or an issue or a problem that they want to solve, a pain. So we're looking at gains and pains with this from a customer standpoint. And it could be different areas, their location, their image, those types of things that we want to satisfy with the product or service. The staff, the team, the people working at the organization, from their standpoint, the management itself, to look at their pains and their gains within the organization, the providers, vendors or suppliers, and certainly as an owner or a president or the principal, your perspective, your business image. So that's what we look at. Number one is the strengths and the weaknesses of all the stakeholders. Number two, we want to look at analyzing the observations. And remember that weaknesses really represent a great opportunity to provide a service or a product. The pains that are there, opportunity for change and improvement, and the strengths need to be nurtured, developed, encouraged, promoted, because those are the things that we want to keep. So what does that look like? What does that overall picture look like? And when I put together the mission and vision, I like to do it even on a canvas so that I'm very clear about all the different stakeholders and all the strengths and that come to the table. And certainly looking at the pains that a client or customer would have, because that's what we address directly. And they would step in a relationship with us a lot faster when we really hone in those pains that they have, and we can provide a short-term and also a long-term solution. What's interesting, the mission is a little more the what. What are we doing? Where are we going? That tends to be a little more stable from a period of time. The vision may change more frequently. Ideally, it would be to keep a mission forever, but the tactics, the mission, how to do that, the execution would change because time changes. So, but yes, there's a certain level of flexibility depending on the company. And the third component is, where is the business today? Where's the business today, and where would you like it to be? And that could be different time segments. In shorter time segments might be 18 months or 3 years or 5 years. In many cases going into 10 years, because when we put this together, a statement like this, the mission could last a longer time frame, the 10-year time frame. For the way that we're doing things now, that is a long, long time. A vision could be perhaps a little bit shorter. So with this, we look at all the stakeholders again, and perhaps come up with a vision that each one would have. In this case, we have customers, and it could be a regional leader in customer service, so they address those customers. From a staffing standpoint, to inspire and develop internally all the professionals. From a management standpoint, to lead a generation of responsibility, whether it's environment or responsibility for the organization and the community itself. For providers or vendors or suppliers, to look at obtaining and offering the highest possible products that come from there. The owners themselves, profitability is important, and also to be highly respected within the peer areas or other organizations within the environment itself. So that's number 3, to look at what opportunities and priorities are involved with this. And this all comes together to be able to assimilate and come together with a statement that resonates. Number 4, we look at statements that are future-oriented. So the fourth aspect is refining these statements a little more narrowly so that they're future-oriented, that you use words that really inspire and reflect the values, the priorities the dreams of the stakeholders, the dreams of the organization, and all those that are involved. So ask those questions. Is it inspire you? Does it inspire the clients or the customers to do more business, or the staff and the teams, so they really champion this? Does it project a compelling image? Does it paint a clear picture? And is it realistic? And does it align with the company's values? I know an organization that I work with, they have 4 values: to trust, to be caring, to challenge, and to grow. And those values are incorporated in their mission statement as well. Tips to do this: look at, build on, inspire, develop, facilitate, achieve, deliver. So that's the 4th area. Let's look at the 5th area. Is including the team, including the employees in the vision creation, and ask them for feedback to be able to provide that mission and vision statement and get some input. Because once they have input to the mission or the vision, they become owners of that vision. They're able to step in and really champion that because they contributed, or at least approved it. And finally, we'll look at the vision statement by placing it where everybody could see it. Today in the digital age is having it on the website, or at least accessible in the About Us page, so that people can go there and get a quick understanding in a sentence or two about the organization. And it may or may not be the deciding factor about doing business, but it's a great point of entry so that the client and the customers and everybody feels good about doing business and interacting and developing a relationship. So it's also important to remember it. In some cases, at the end of the sessions that we put together, it's memorizing it and committing it to heart so that that becomes something that's living and breathing, and that's the organization. And people feel proud about that. So let's review what we talked about, the 6 areas, and that is to make sure that we look at the strengths and weaknesses of all the stakeholders, that we look at any observations that we might have from that. What does the picture look like? We assess where the business is today and where it's going in the future with all the different stakeholders. We look at aspirations and priorities of the business. We look at the languaging itself to make it future-oriented and words that really inspire. And we paint a clear picture. And getting feedback from employees and the team members. And actually, I would even get feedback from providers, if you could extend to that, or some of the clients or customers, so you get some input from that, maybe the key customers that you might have. And finally, being able to make it accessible in a place where people can go to that's consistent, maybe a website, in front of a lobby at the entrance, in back of the chair of the president or the owner, in the boardroom where everybody can come in and really look at that and read it and understand that each stepping stone, each meeting, each engagement, each relationship goes forward towards the bigger picture of the vision. Here's an action statement or action that you may want to take. Consider putting or revising your mission and vision statement if you have one already, or consider putting one together so that you start going forward in your organization. And I think you'll find that it really accelerates, from an emotional standpoint, the business, which in turn will affect the business from a tangible standpoint, the financial aspect. This is Rocky Romero, and we have Kealah Parkinson, and we thank you for asking the marketing expert. Enjoy.